917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here in studio with Jason Mears, Florida Best Quote Insurance, our insurance expert contributor. We're going to get you that update here on what's happening in the state legislation, what's being debated there, and also an update in the market. Before we do, we always like to feature our real estate listings live on air. It's our strategy that helps our sellers maximize exposure and also profit. The idea is getting more profit on the sale of your real estate. Keller Williams Realty, #1 real estate company on the planet, and we're a top team here in Tampa Bay, so we feature our listings in ways that other real estate companies don't, so we're maximizing exposure. 18341 Ferreira Avenue in Spring Hill, vacant land available for purchase. We do list, by the way, commercial, vacant land, and residential development opportunities. So this one's a vacant land parcel of property that we have, 1.19 acre vacant land, zone AR. You have certified septic tank, well, and electric pole. Impact fees have been paid. You can build your dream home or place a mobile manufactured home there as well. Close to Weeki Wachee, Anderson Snow Sports Complex, shopping outlets as well. This is on Ferreira Avenue in Spring Hill. Great opportunity. Clean slate, blank slate, as they say, and you can build your dream home there. Beautiful, beautiful property. Sunshine Grove Road, Brooksville, another one, another vacant land, vacant parcel of land. Now this one is a little bit more you got to buy two different roadways there. You got two dual lanes on both sides, so it's a little bit more. Could be commercial, could go both ways. Could be a dream home or maybe potentially a business. I mean, it's got a nice frontage there. 4.9 acres, vacant lot, zoned AG. So you could build your dream home here, maybe get it rezoned. It looks like there's a business next door also. You're just minutes from Highway 50, Suncoast Parkway, close proximity to schools, shopping centers, restaurants, medical facilities, and a very effortless commute to major metro areas as well. 5 acres almost, MOL here we call it. Sunshine Grove Road, Brooksville, Florida. Great opportunity to buy land and build and develop and live that American dream. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. Check out PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road.
All right, a quick shout out to our friend over at Lawn Anglers, Adam Long. He does a great job taking care of our real estate properties, residential, commercial properties. If you're looking to hire a new or maybe replace your lawn guy, this is it. Lawn maintenance, landscaping, mulching, tree trimming, yard cleanouts, and more. Lawn Anglers, Adam Long does a great job. Highly recommend. And he is a stand-up guy. I would definitely give him a call. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. And you might say, well, how do I do that, Brandon? Where do I find all your folks, your information? I heard this attorney on the show. I heard this self-defense guy. You go to consumerqb.com, consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors. Boating, yachting, private pilots, Florida firearms. You've got Captain Will Smith, Fred DeFelice, our water guy. Rickman is our criminal defense, home staging. So many different ways we can help you here. We got Martin Grammatica coming back on soon as well. I reconnected with him at a networking event. Lifeguard Imaging, they offer the free heart scans. Mike Murphy Auto Group, Alexander Lima, Michael Schwartz. So many people can help you here. Reach out at consumerqb.com, consumerqb.com. All right, Jason Mears back in studio. Welcome back, sir.
Mr. Brandon, it's always good to be here.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for having me.
Likewise, we were talking, we got to get you some intro music, so next time we'll have something keyed up for you.
Yeah, I got to come up with something cool.
The Lone Ranger had his, that was a great TV show back in the day,
though.
though.
I watched it. I'm old enough to remember that.
Me too, yeah. Some of those funny old, shows, Zorro and some of those.
Oh, I love that. Love
yeah.
Zorro.
All right, so update on homeowners insurance. Any good news out there, man?
Yeah, I think so. I think I think as an industry, we kind of look for some signs. I think some things, it's kind of a process. Some things you look for would be, are we having companies come back into the state to write business? We did have some last year. Still waiting on some companies from out of state to come in this year to start writing business. So that's an indicator. Also, are companies making money yet? Because I think we've discussed before how, the last 4 or 5 years, the home insurance industry's lost billions of dollars in the state of Florida. Some of the companies are making money, starting to. Unfortunately, it's a lot of the companies that have gotten really, really strict with their guidelines, but that is part of the process, their underwriting guidelines. But speaking of that, some of those underwriting guidelines from companies have started to loosen a little bit with some of the companies. They're writing some companies are writing a little bit older homes, or they're writing in maybe some of the counties they didn't write in before, or they're lessening some of their roof guidelines. So that's probably the next step. But then the last step in the process is when people start seeing their rates go down, and we're still not seeing that. So
Right.
Rates are continuing to increase with most of the renewals that we're seeing. So we need to see some of those other things happen first, and then we'll start seeing a leveling out of some of those rates.
Yeah, and what kind of legislation is being debated? Have you kind of kept your ear to the ground in terms of what's happening in Tallahassee?
Yeah, I think there were at least 13 bills that were being discussed,
Wow.
and we should know some of the final. They'll be finishing up in early March, but some of them I think there's no way that they would do it. But some of them are really interesting. There was a proposal I know to make Citizens the go-to wind-only company.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of the companies, especially near the water, are not offering wind coverage. So there was a debate about that. Well, let's have Citizens do it. I don't think there's any way that's going to pass. There's been a couple of bills that would increase how much coverage Citizens offers, because Citizens only goes up to around 700,000 of building coverage. Mm-hmm. And so there's one bill, let's go up to $1 million. Another bill, let's go up to 1.5 million. And so, but they're trying to get rid of policies. So this kind of seems like it's not cost effective for them. Like, let's offer more Citizens coverage when Citizens' goal has been to lessen the number of policies they have. So I think the most intriguing one to me, which I think there's some problems, but it's being discussed. Currently, home insurance, the way it works is you cover the building for the replacement cost of the structure. What is the replacement cost of that building? Well, there's a bill being proposed that would allow people to cover their homes at the cost of what's left of their mortgage. That one is kind of intriguing, but I do see some potential pitfalls of that.
Oh,
but,
yeah. I see bankruptcies coming from there.
Yeah,
because the
like what
mortgage
happened with,
gets paid
claims
off, right? You walk me through that.
Well, it's like let's say the replacement cost on your home is $500,000. Well, then normally you'd have to cover the home on a home insurance policy for $500,000. But what if you've got $150,000 left on your mortgage? This bill, if it passes, would give the option for people to cover their home at that $150,000 limit. But again, what happens when a claim gets made against that house? And let's say the house burns down, that sort of thing. So it's really interesting to me how many bills are out there that are just I would have never thought of.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll end up seeing parts of some of these bills or things like that get approved. But it's really interesting to see what they're trying to get by.
Yeah, because as long as they're protecting the consumer, that's where I kind of wear my hat, and I think about the consumers there, because if you put people in a position where they think, oh well, that's okay, and then the mortgage company gets paid off, but then they have an extra $150,000 that they have to come up with, what's going to happen? They're going to be homeless.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the main concerns.
Yeah.
Right. So will that pass? I do not see that happening. Is there some sort of way they can offer that in a way that protects customers? I don't know, but I think that's going to definitely be something discussed. There's also a lot of discussions I know that's going to be happening related to the condo legislation.
Yeah, let's talk condos, because that's a big deal right now.
Yeah, and I think it'll be really interesting to see a couple of things. These milestone reports that are being required and if you're in a condo building that is 30 years of age or older and 3 stories are over, then your condo building is being required to have a milestone report, which is basically an inspection, right? And based on what that inspection turns up, that has to be fixed and paid for by somebody, right? And that's where the reserve funds of the association would come into effect. But a lot of these condo associations aren't fully funded. Their reserves aren't fully funded. So that's one of the big concerns out there.
Even if, I'm sorry to interject there, but even if they were fully funded and the repairs and the deferred maintenance was a higher number, now you're talking special assessment.
Exactly.
Talk our listeners through that. What does that mean?
Yeah, and that's when the people that are currently living there would be assessed part of that cost, right? And I think this is the biggest concern coming down, that we're wondering if the state's going to do anything about this. I think there's 2 main things. There's no way these milestone reports can be done by the end of this year, and that was the original legislation. All these throughout the state, but you're looking at tens of thousands of condo associations, right? there's not enough engineers and not enough inspection companies in the state to do this. So we think that there's going to be an extension on that of some kind. But then the other thing is, what are we going to do for the 55 and older community, right? I think that's, just as an insurance agent, that's my biggest concern, is you've got a lot of older condo buildings and people that are living paycheck to paycheck living in these condo buildings. What happens if their association can't cover the cost of repairs? I know there's a building out there right now that, what if they have $20 or $30 million in repairs needed? Who's covering that, right?
Yeah.
And so what we're hoping for is maybe there's going to be some sort of a niche or some sort of cutout for that community, because there's no way the state of Florida and the legislature wants to do harm to that community at all.
We're talking with Jason Mears here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. And Jason, we always talk talk about insurance, so naturally we progress over to from real estate into the auto industry as well as business insurance. So I'm wondering, what type of insurance would be needed to cover for this? This is a homeowner association manager embezzled nearly $25,000. This is from the Pinellas County Sheriff. I guess allegedly this person here, Lopez, was utilizing the funds from their homeowners association, nearly $25,000 to, let's see here, it's talking about she would pay her mortgage or insurance or cable as well as Amazon purchases and new windows for her home, says the sheriff's office. So what would happen if you're in that HOA situation and you live in an HOA and you have a manager like this that is doing these nefarious things? Is there a policy that covers for that?
Yeah, there are I guess, what would you call them? There are aspects of home insurance or condo association policies that would have some sort of fraud protection, like there's identity theft protection and things like that. There's also separate policies that could be purchased. I wouldn't know what protection they would have for that specific situation, but a lot of the
errors, errors and omissions. That's not it, right?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Unless
it would have to be part of that association's policy, which that would just depend on how it was written and if anything was included. But there's usually some sort of coverage that would help with that. But the fraud part of this is something that's, and it's sad but true, but this is part of the whole issue across the board in the state of Florida.
Right.
It's all about the fraud. I was just with a friend on Sunday night for the Super Bowl party.
Yep.
And I knew that they had gotten taken advantage of by one of these unscrupulous roofers that had come by their house saying, hey, we can take care of getting a new roof for you. And they signed over their rights to their claim and all of that sort of thing.
Yep.
Yes, which those are illegal now. But this was just in the last couple of years. But they updated me on Sunday night that the roofer that had come by, he is being sued along with his daughter, because his daughter got on the phone with the insurance company and pretended to be my friend's wife.
Wow.
And so that's how deep the fraud was going in that roofing company, to pose as
Holy
the
cow.
wife of my friend, with the claim. So they're both potentially going to be serving jail time.
Wow, it's a lot of these people committing these frauds. It's like, how do you think that's not going to show up at some point? Like, how do you think you can get away with that? Charging items on Amazon. Don't you think at some point they're going to find the money missing and then say, oh, let's track it. You do a simple reverse and, oh, it came from this card and who had access to that card, and then they're going to start asking questions. It's like, come on, guys, you gotta.
Well, and part of all this condo reform that's going on is there's this requirement where these associations have to give up their financials,
right? That's
their financial reports.
Let's talk about that on the next side, because there's a lot of stuff going on in that side of the financial requirements, and people are resigning from boards. They're resigning from even city councils and things of that nature. I think that's what you're referring to. We'll talk about that more with we've got Jason Mears in studio here coming up on the flip side of this break. Taking a quick break, coming right back here. Stay with us. Don't touch the dial. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider who shares your values. They offer the very best nationwide coverage on 4G and 5G LTE networks and exceptional 100% US-based customer support. Patriot Mobile offers discounts for veterans and first responders, NRA members, and families with multiple lines. Learn more at patriotmobile.com/consumer QB. That's patriotmobile.com/consumer QB. Or if you'd like to give us a call, you can reach out at 727-263-3707. That's 727-263-3707. And we'd be happy to tell you more about Patriot Mobile. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. You can reach me at 727-263-3707. Call or text 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, you know what really makes my day also is when I get these phone calls about the show and connecting you, our valued listeners, our audience, our folks watching us online as well. Reach out to the show. We'd love to connect with you. 727-263-3707. Call the hotline. It's an off-air number, 727-263-3707. 263-3707. Call or text that line, and we'll put you in touch with all of our expert contributors. And also, if you'd like to get a comparable market analysis or maybe an insurance review, reach out. We'll put you in touch with Jason, Florida Best Quote Insurance, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, all online as well at consumerqb.com. A couple of hot listings here. We got 8333 New York Avenue in Hudson. This one is there's multiple buildings here on this site. You've got single-family homes, you got apartment rentals. It's 1.5 acres. Zoning is C3, and you've got 3 distinct structures there: 2 residential buildings and 1 warehouse. 1335 square foot warehouse with a pool. Single-family home with a pool. 912 square foot duplex, and then 5,332 square foot warehouse. So you have generating income as well. You got $3,300 coming in. Great opportunity to own real estate right here in Hudson, Florida, Pasco County, 8333 New York Avenue, one of our hot real estate listings. And also 3704 Burger Road in Lutz. This is another beautiful property. $1 million listing from the Platinum MVP team. 2-story, 9 bedrooms, 12 bathrooms, 10,000 square feet. You have an indoor pool, tennis court, basketball area, miniature golf putting green, sauna, steam room, Spanish-style tile, 2 master suites with a jetted jacuzzi, Mediterranean-style mansion for sale from the Platinum MVP team. 3704 Burger Road in Lutz, Florida. And you can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. Check out PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
All right, we got Jason Mears in studio with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we're talking about these financial disclosures that are now being mandated essentially, not only for homeowners associations, but I hear that they're coming down harder also on local municipalities, city council members, things of that nature. What have you seen out there, Jason?
Well, I think on the real estate side, I think what we're seeing a lot of is, people that are buying condos, if they're going to be buying into one of these condos that is 3 stories or more, 30 years or older, they're going to want to know if that milestone report's been done, when is it going to be done, if it hasn't been already, and also they want to know what the finances are for that association. So that should be, you should be able to get the minutes, any reports, the financials of that association. They should be easy to get. If not, you might be in a situation where you have to get, I think they call it a third-party notification document that a lawyer could get signed so that the realtor can turn around and request those documents from the associations. Hopefully it wouldn't come to that, but there are requirements where they're going to have to do that. We have seen a lot of the associations take some they're taking the initiative of going ahead and getting a pre-milestone report. They're just going ahead and getting the inspections done themselves up front so that they know what's going on ahead of time and not waiting 6 months out for that milestone report to see what they find. But what's weird about it, the majority of what they're finding is on the balconies of a lot of these condos, because they've come back in and like tiled it or put in some sort of, and there's no moisture barrier, and so they were never the balconies were never meant to be tiled or have anything else, and so it ends up causing moisture and mold issues that can end up wearing away some of the structure. So that's been the big thing that they've been finding a lot of.
Yeah, the structural integrity is the main thing. It's the key in this. Again, relating back to the Surfside incident from a year or two ago.
All this is them trying to save lives. So you have to look at it kind of that way. And if you're in a condo building that is dangerous, then you want to know that. But then you run into the problem of, well, who's going to pay for the repairs that come out, and does the association have funds to do it?
Yeah, by the way, I'm teaching a class over at GTAR coming up next month, and save the date, March 27th. If you are in the real estate industry, or if you're thinking about getting in the industry, we can help you get licensed as well. This is March 27th. It's Wednesday, 10:30 to 3:30 over at GTAR, the Greater Tampa Realtors Auditorium on Kennedy Boulevard. So, Jason, if you can make this too, man, we can have you talk to all the folks there as well. But high-level skills that create clients for life. This is where we'll be talking about winning with sellers, how to get listings, why you want to be the employer, not the employee, and we'll go into detail on what we mean by that. Leads, listings, and leverage. That's what it all comes down to. It's interesting when you look at how things are taught. Going back from Tony Robbins to others, right? It's a lot of coaches use this old triangle, right? It's like leads, listings, leverage. It's a triangle. It's easy to remember. 1, 2, 3, too many, right? So, but it's a good teaching point. But so we'll be teaching that over on the auditorium there at GTAR on the 27th. Save the date. Hit me up if you'd like to come and check it out. Anybody out there that's in our network, other realtors and other investors, people that are maybe looking to get into real estate. We have a program called K-Score as well, where we can help you get licensed, and you can become a referral agent as well. Jason, final thought here. I just wanted to play a quick clip on this insurance rate and then get your take on it.
A home and auto insurance crisis is spiking rates and draining Americans' wallets.
In some states like California, families are struggling to find coverage at all. Daily Wire investigative reporter Mairead Elordi is here with the details.
Hi, Georgia. So home insurance prices have been climbing for months, but in some places the situation is really coming to a head now. The national average for home insurance was up 21% from 2022 to 2023. Just to give you an idea, the average premium in 2019 before the pandemic was $1,175, and last year it was about $1,700. But some states are seeing much steeper increases. Florida's seen the worst spike, with prices soaring 68% over the last 2 years.
68% in Florida. Jason, about a minute left. Back to you.
Yeah, that's exactly what we would be seeing. And even right now, the issue with auto insurance has been out there for years and years. I mean, there was a lot of fraud in that industry 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? So the rates continue to increase. But I think I think there is hope. The national average, not the national average, state average is around $5,000 per home. And, depending on where you live in Florida, that could be a lot higher or a lot lower. But I think in the next year to 2 years, we'll see some steadying of that, which is going to help a lot of people, and that's what we're hoping for. But I don't see a day where we're going to see rates
significant
just plummet
drops,
again. I think this is going to kind of be the new normal, to have rates that are going to be a little higher than what we used to see.
Yeah. How do you want people to connect?
You can call me on my cell at 813-385-4441. You can email me at jason@floridabestquote.com. That's Florida spelled out. You can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram with some updated tips at Florida Insurance Tips.
Florida Insurance Tips, Jason Mears, Florida Best Quote Insurance. Thanks for coming in.
I always love coming in. Thanks,
man. All right. Hey, another great show. We had Bruce Woodburn on the front half, Jason Mears on the second. And thank you so much for spending some time with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we greatly appreciate you subscribing to the YouTube channel over at youtube.com/Brandon Rhymes Realty, or search Consumer Quarterback Show as well. Please go out there, consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time. ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.